I'm not too sure what I've just watched there. Arsenal have beaten Liverpool. What? It's such a weird game. 70% possession for Liverpool. We had 3 shots compared to something like 20 odd that they had. And we've come out of this game with a win. And I know a lot of people before this game, myself included, were thinking that Liverpool wouldn't really turn up. They don't really care. They've already won the league. And I still think there were glimpses of that coming through in this game today. But they wanted this win. I think that was clear to see right at the end of the game when you had Alexander-Arnold sprinting to take that corner. They wanted to get something out of this game. And we've done really well to shut the back door, essentially, and get the 3 points today. And we needed that. Not in terms of the points, the table, forget about that for a minute, but getting a win against a team of this quality, heading into that game against Manchester City, will do this team the world of good. Because having lost the game to Spurs, having had the disappointing draw with Leicester, which I don't think would have left us in too bad a spirits considering we played so well in that game, and then to have had Mane score that goal fairly early on in the game today, I mean, we could have quite easily let ourselves lose this game 2 or 3-0. Quite easily, we could have completely dropped off in the way that we have done in previous years. But we didn't do that, and we showed a lot of resilience to bounce back almost immediately, capitalise on Liverpool's mistakes. And Liverpool have handed this to us. Let's be honest, we created virtually nothing, and we had no real creativity in the middle of the park with Dani Ceballos off the pitch in place of Lucas Torreira today. But it was a very defensive-minded setup, I felt. And I thought, as I say, we capitalised on the opportunities that were presented to us. Van Dijk, first of all, giving Lacazette that opportunity, and then Alisson giving that opportunity to Reiss Nelson, who also had an awful lot of work to do, by the way. That was a really, really tidy finish from Reiss Nelson. I thought before that goal that he scored, he was pretty quiet, but afterwards I thought he really started to show confidence, show glimpses of the player that we're so excited about. And I'm just buzzing for him because I think he's a player that's got so much potential, and this is one of few chances he's had at Arsenal so far. So really, really pleased for him. He must be absolutely buzzing that he's on the score sheet. And also buzzing for Lacazette, 3 goals in 4 games. He's coming into form exactly at the right time, coming into that game against City, and also with Nketiah still suspended. It's a really, really good time for Lacazette to be getting amongst the goals, and hopefully he'll start in that game at the weekend and hopefully continue his fine goal scoring form. But make no mistake about it, we got battered tonight, and I think the big positive is that we defended well, which is something that we didn't do against Spurs. Rob Holding came in and I think was rusty, but also did the basics well, defended well, got a lot of blocks and interceptions in the way, and he stopped Liverpool, as did a lot of those players at the back. Luiz was good. He was put on his arse at one point by Sadio Mane, and if Martinez hasn't made a fantastic save, then that would have levelled things up in the game. But for the most part, Luiz was great. Emi Martinez, between the sticks, he is the best backup goalkeeper, not just in the Premier League, in the world. I think he is unbelievable. I didn't realise quite how good he was. So I'm really, really excited for Emi Martinez. And Kieran Tierney playing at left centre-back. Again, not as effective going forward as you would expect, but defensively absolutely perfect. And Bukayo Saka on the left-hand side I thought was really good. Cedric was equally as good on the right-hand side. The midfield too of Xhaka and Torreira, I thought they kind of crowded the midfield. I thought they did very well against the likes of Fabinho. OxladeChamberlain for Liverpool. I don't know, I can't ever feel like Jurgen Klopp started him just to kind of prove a point that he's coming back to the Emirates Stadium as a champion of England, which is, completely fair enough. Oxlade-Chamberlain to have won the Champions League in the league with Liverpool is an unbelievable achievement, but I still don't feel like he's a better player than he was when he left Arsenal. And had he stayed at Arsenal, I don't think he would necessarily have improved. I don't think he's a massive loss to the club. But as an individual, I like Oxlade-Chamberlain. I think he's a really nice guy, and fair play to him for winning the league. And, it is what it is. It is what it is. I know some people are a bit upset about him going to Liverpool, but for me, he's very fortunate to be part of such a good Liverpool team and to get the minutes that he has done to entitle him to a Champions League and a Premier League. So I can only tip my hat to him. Moving on from that, going out into that second half, we pretty much just put the barricades up and let Liverpool come at us, and we tried to catch them on the counter. We brought on Lacazette, we took off Lacazette, brought on Aubameyang, brought on Joe Willock and brought on Dani Ceballos. I thought Dani Ceballos brought a little bit more control in midfield, but again, very rarely was in possession of the ball, and Aubameyang barely touched the ball, and Joe Willock had a fantastic opportunity to score right at the end, which he should have put in the back of the net. He'll be kicking himself that he didn't get on the score sheet this evening. But those substitutes barely touched the ball when they came on the pitch. It was interesting that they actually came on. I think there is certainly some sort of looking ahead to the game at the weekend from Mikel Arteta there. So it's understandable why Aubameyang didn't start. And it's good as well that we've made so many changes in this game and we've won it, and we're still able to have rested players like Aubameyang, Bellerin, Mustafi, whatever you think of him, for that game against Manchester City. These are players that you assume will start that game. So I'm very, very pleased with things in that sense. One player I was a little bit disappointed with tonight, and I don't want to talk negatively about players this evening, but I was expecting slightly more from Pepe. I just think he could have done a little bit more in this game. Maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh there, but he made some good dribbles, but he just most of the time ran into traffic, didn't release the ball at the right times for me, had very few chances in on goal. And I don't think it helped that he was maybe playing on the left-hand side, where I don't think he's ever played for Arsenal before, and we had Reece Nelson on the right. I'm surprised that we played that way. I think I could see what Arteta's doing with Aubameyang not starting. Pepe kind of filled in as that wide player that moves centrally like Aubameyang does when he's playing in this Arsenal setup. And I don't think Pepe quite worked out for him. But don't get me wrong, made some very good dribbles, but they didn't really end up doing anything positive for us. But he's useful to have. He runs down the clock. He is a tricky player, and he must be frustrating to play against from a Liverpool point of view. But we haven't paid 72 million quid for a tricky player, for someone that's a nightmare to play against. In these type of games, we need someone to be scoring goals, getting amongst it that bit more, creating more opportunities, and I'm sure that will come. It's his first season in England. His return is very good in terms of goals and assists, but tonight I just think he could have done a little bit more. I'm comparing him to Saka, who I think is almost excellent every time, gets involved as much as possible, and you could probably make the same argument for Saka tonight. I mean, he made a lot of runs that went into nowhere. Chances were few and far between for him. I think as I'm saying this, I think I'm being overly harsh, but looking to that game on the weekend, which I'm mentioning a lot now because I'm looking forward to it. I'm also exceedingly nervous about it. I think Arteta's got a bit of a conundrum as to whether he starts Nicola Pepe, because if we're going to start with this three at the back system, I think it's very likely that we'll see Saka on the right-hand side, Lacazette through the middle, and Aubameyang on the left. I think it's very unlikely that Pepe will start that game. As harsh as that does sound, I think you've got to admit that front three that I've just mentioned has worked well for us. Saka playing on that right-hand side, his connection with Aubameyang is fantastic, and Lacazette, whilst he's in goal-scoring form, is just undroppable at the minute. So I'm pretty confident that will be the front three to start that game. I'm pretty sure we can make good guesses of what the rest of the team will be, and unfortunately I don't think Pepe is going to feature in that, which is a big shame, but hopefully he can have some impact off the bench, or maybe I'm speaking nonsense and he will start that game and hopefully play a blinder. But in terms of the league, this game doesn't mean much. I was saying after the defeat to Spurs that we still should be in with a chance of competing for European competition next season. Having looked at the table, I think that's going to be exceedingly difficult. I don't know what I was thinking at the weekend, but I'm not too fussed about Europe, to be honest. I know financially it's a big burden not to get European football, but we've still got that way to get it through the FA Cup if we go on to win it. And potentially we can get it through the league. It'll be tough, but we've got Villa and Watford next, two teams fighting for survival. Don't want to take it for granted, but hopefully we'll be 6 points out of 6. And then, take it from there, see where we end up. But I think getting qualification through the league is going to be exceedingly difficult. And as I say, I'm not too fussed about it, to be honest. I know financially it's a problem, but I'm pretty sure this club will survive. We'll be able to get through it. We've got means of getting other revenue in, so one season out of Europe is not going to kill the club in the way that I think a lot of people are assuming it will do. But let's relish tonight, because these type of wins are going to be few and far between, I feel, for the upcoming future. But massive game of the weekend. I really don't want to see us get battered. I really don't want to see that. I hope we're able to put in a good performance. I hope we're able to get a couple of goals, and I hope we're really able to prove a point. I'm sure Mikel Arteta is going to want to do that, given what happens just after the restart against Manchester City. And I think we've got a very good chance of... Am I about to say that? I think we've got a very good chance of beating Manchester City. I don't know. It's the FA Cup. Anything can happen. I'm excited for it, but let's hope we don't concede early. Let's hope the defence turns up, because we know these players can turn up. As mistake-ridden as some of the likes of Mustafi, Luiz, Kolasinac are, these players can turn up. And they need to turn up at the weekend, because it's a massive, massive game for this football club. Drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And as always, I'll speak to you very, very soon. See you later, guys.